Why is there such a lack of terrorist attacks in Poland? Dominick Taryczicki, the Polish politician that's gone kind of viral in recent years on his sort of anti-Islamic immigration to Eastern Europe stance, is going to tell us all about it. I'm Tal the Traveling Clat, your favorite Zionist prince, white colonizer, Zionizer. Let's check out this clip.
Dominick Taryczicki, thank you for joining me on Upfront. You're an MP and an MEP-elect for Poland's Law and Justice Party, which was recently re-elected to government and which is often criticised for being anti-immigrant, anti-refugee. But actually, you're not anti-immigrant or anti-refugee. You're OK with white Christian immigrants from Ukraine. You've taken around 2 million of them in. You're just not OK, it seems, with brown Muslim refugees from the Middle East. White people fine, brown people not fine. There's a word for that, isn't there, Dominic?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. It has nothing to do with your color. It has nothing to do with the religion. I keep repeating it for the last 4 or 5 years. It's all about safety and the common sense. It's not about Ukrainians who are allowed to come to Poland. It's about illegal migrants who wants to cross our borders. And if you're brown, white, yellow, or whatever, if you want to cross our border illegally, you're not allowed. We are reacting.
Well, first of all, plenty of people are coming into Europe legally as asylum seekers. You have a legal right to asylum from places like Syria. But you say it's not about religion. You said, quote, we will not receive even one Muslim because this is what we promised. You didn't say illegal immigrants. You said we will not receive even one Muslim.
It has nothing to do with the Muslim religion. It's not Islamophobia, as someone's trying to tell us. It's all about this moment and this fact that at 2015, Angela Merkel started this madness, and now this is a problem about Muslims mainly coming to Europe. I'm surprised they are not going to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or any other rich Muslim countries. They would feel much better, isn't it?
You say Angela Merkel and her madness. I mean, Angela Merkel followed the law. The EU has law. There's a refugee convention. There's a universal declaration of human rights. The EU Advocate General, which advises the European Court of Justice, found this week that your country broke EU law in 2015 when Poland refused to share the refugee burden. So it's your country, your government, Dominic, that's undermining European values, European laws, not immigrants, not refugees, not Muslims.
No, not at all. This judgment was not about Poland only. It was about Hungary and others. And also, this judgment, this sentence, was about all countries which did not fulfill the expectations. You have to remember that the quota system, which failed, was very clear about the numbers. So even Germany and France did not receive as many as they should. For us, that was very clear. In 2015, we promised that we will never agree for the quota system, and our promises are kept. The whole migration crisis, it's a global thing. Europe is not responsible for what is happening in Syria. Poland is not responsible for what is happening in Iraq, in Syria, in other places. We never had any colonies. So if this problem is a global problem, where is Saudi Arabia? Where is Qatar? Where are the other Arab countries, rich Arab countries, which should help? They can help. Mecca is a great example. 100,000 tents used only once a year during the pilgrimage. 4 million people can take this shelter and live there for a year. They're empty. Nice, beautiful tents, air-conditioned tents. They are empty.
Well, you do realize...
By the way, I just want to point out how Mehdi Hassan, who is a glorified terrorist, by the way, nothing short of that. He works for Al Jazeera, or he's worked for Al Jazeera in his past. A glorified terrorist. Don't forget, Al Jazeera is in cahoots with multiple terrorist organizations, including the IRGC, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Like, fully in bed with them. You've even had Al Jazeera reporters who have actually committed acts of terror. But Mehdi Hassan, in this clip, this is what I've been warning against, what I've been talking about. They are using your system against you, and they're making fun of you while they do it. Notice how he says, you're undermining European values by not accepting to take in Islamic refugees from the Middle East. Notice how he says that. He is literally using your own law against you to undermine your society. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the infiltration. That is them taking over. That is them using your own law against you and making fun of you for it as they do it. They are laughing at you.
Realize that tiny Lebanon's taken in over 1 million Syrians. 1 in 5 of the population in Lebanon is a refugee. Turkey has more Syrian refugees than any country in the world. So Muslim majority countries, some are doing their part, some aren't. I agree with you. You also say in other interviews that this is about Christian culture. This is about Europe being Christian. Now you tell me, no, it's all about legality. I feel like you're all over the place. Are you objecting to refugees from Syria because they're not Christian or because they shouldn't be in Poland? Which one? You seem to offer different excuses at different times.
You have to apply. Polish law is very clear about it. Submit your documents, apply for a visa, get us the criminal back check, and then we're going to decide. We are not forced by any law to agree for that. It's the same in America. Even if you have a visa and you're trying to enter US, you still might hear, no, you're not allowed. And there's no explanation. No one from US side, they don't have to really explain it.
That might
they
make
don't have
some
to
sense.
Say why you're not allowed.
That might make some sense if you said, if you hadn't said, we will not receive even one Muslim. If you hadn't bragged about the fact that you don't have mosques in Poland. I mean, it sounds like you don't want them there because you're anti-Muslim and anti-Islam.
Okay, so let me go from the legal path to the society. So legally, you have to apply, and legally, you're allowed to apply, and this is up to us if we agree to have you in Poland. That's number one. Then our society, our structure. I keep repeating that in many mosques, we can hear about hijra. For us, homogenic society, Christian society is a value. For me, multicultural society, it's not a value. I used to live in London. I used to live there for 5 years. I used to work in US, and I see the fruits of multiculturalism. For me, it's not a virtue. For me, it's not a value. So we have a right to think about our future in a way we want to.
Yep.
So Christian culture, Roman law, Greek philosophers, these are the virtues for us.
It's funny that you mentioned. It's funny that you mentioned.
Number two,
can I jump in
we
1
don't
second?
Want Sharia law in Europe.
Okay.
I'm the member. Let me finish.
Having Muslims in your country doesn't mean you have Sharia law. You mentioned London. The mayor of London is a Muslim. There's no Sharia law.
There is actually, Mehdi Hassan, there actually is multiple cases now found of Muslim Sharia courts in London, in the UK. Absolutely, with a rising influx of Muslims in your country, does come the framework for Sharia law. Absolutely. Even in America, America is not safe from this either. Even in America, the talks of the global epic city, not a global, the epic city, a Muslim for Muslim town for Muslims only in the Plano, Texas, the Dallas region. Their plan is to do an in vitro Sharia law that basically circumvents U.S. national law and federal law to bring in Sharia law so they can govern Muslims by Muslims only. This is what happens. It is the framework.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned London. Some would say it's hypocritical that you don't want Muslims in Poland because
no,
let me finish my question.
Where the Sharia is present.
Let me finish the question. Many would say it's hypocritical that you say you don't want Muslim immigrants in your country because they commit crimes, there's a security threat, and yet you hear exactly the same rhetoric about Polish immigrants in the UK from right-wing politicians and media there. They say the Poles are groping women, they're feckless, they're criminals, they won't integrate. Don't you see the irony or the hypocrisy of treating Muslim immigrants to Poland in the same way that some Britons treat Polish immigrants?
Okay, how many Poles blow themselves up in London or any other place in the world? That's the question I keep repeating.
There is a lot of crime carried out by Polish immigrants, according to the right-wing press.
Kill themselves and others because of their religion or hate.
Dominic, your argument doesn't work. Just last month in the UK...
The question was very specific.
I'm answering your question.
How many of them blowed themselves up?
Okay. Let me answer your question in this way. A Polish immigrant was charged with the rape and murder of a British student last month. How would you feel if people in the UK started saying, we don't want Poles here anymore. We don't want rapists and murderers here. That's what you say about Muslims. You generalize about all Muslims in the same way that some on the right in the UK generalize about Poles. There's a lot of anti-Polish racism in the UK. Do you not see the irony that you're doing the same thing to Muslims as is done to Poles?
Don't buy another pair of glasses.
Well, that's that. Mehdi Hassan is a disgusting... absolutely disgusting propagandist. It's obviously not the same. And this politician, Dominick, has every right to say, we refuse Islamic immigration to Poland. Poland is not a rich country. I've been to Poland twice. It's a country full of hardworking people, many of which go abroad to do work, to come back so they could provide for their families. I'm not going to say they live in poor living conditions, but the country is not, it's not a rich country by any means. Things are very, very affordable there, especially if you're coming from the UK or from America. They have no burden to take on any Islamic immigration whatsoever. And neither does Hungary, and neither does Romania, and neither does anywhere in the Balkans, because they know, though, they can see the track record of what happens. As much of Mehdi wants to push his propaganda that Poles are rapists and do crimes and this and that, he's absolutely, Dominick is absolutely right. Poles are not blowing themselves up. Not in the name of God. They're not stabbing people. They're not killing people. They're not doing horrible crimes against people, especially not at an elevated rate, especially when you lined it up against Arab Islamic immigrants to the UK. I'm sorry. Done deal. It's as simple as that. This isn't anti-Islam. It's not anti-Arab. It's not anti-Islamism. It's just literally looking out for your country. There is a problem with Islamic immigration in Europe. It does not work properly. There's no reason they should be forced to. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you long time. Goodbye, Klats.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.